Sunday morning, with no way to hold my head, that didn't hurt. And the beer I had for breakfast wasn't bad, so I had one more for dessert. Then I fumbled in my closet through my clothes and found my cleanest dirty shirt. Then I washed my face and combed my hair and stumbled down the stairs to meet the day. Hey, here we go. Phillipson and Cordico and Isaac, Andrew, Tyler, Almighty Potato, Wicked Impulse, Nar 73, Brofist. Hey, Lex. Here we be. Yeah, back with the poor singing. uh, my grandfather says I'm too reliant on technology. I love that one. Called him a hypocrite and unplugged his life support. Yep, I love that joke. That's an all-time classic. Oh yeah, Andrew, love that song. One of the few benefits of my parents' individual taste in music. When I was a kid, that's all you had access to is whatever they had on hand, and that's where I hey, Brulem. That's where I picked up Sunday Morning Coming Down, and I have for some reason, even as a little kid, it's weird. That song affected me like on an emotional level. I don't know what it is, but it still does to this day. Shadow says I was watching the One Piece Stampede movie, but I guess I'll watch it later. Luffy will wait for you. He's good. he's good with you hanging out here for a while. Doing good, Toxicate Ball. Mr. Croissant, I don't know what you'd be recommending anime for. We can't do anime here at the Goose right now. I'm able to slip in so far, able to slide in those old One Piece. I guess they're reactions. They're highly, highly cut up, diced up reactions that I brought over from the Goose, and so far I'm getting they're holding okay. They're being able to stay up, but I don't know where you'd be suggesting an anime for, my friend. Yeah, your stream boss BTG. You yesterday, right before I had to cut that one short, you had just taken over. Spez, did I die of COVID? Yes, but I got better. Wasn't that bad. Going nowhere says, hey Curtis, I'm early today. Burnt Pyromaniac says, let's talk about how stupid it is that presidents and VPs are elected separately in the Philippines, which kind of means that the president-elect has to pray that the VP candidate they agree with wins. I've heard about that in certain places, Pyromaniac, those are individual. I don't know. Is it good for a system of checks and balances, or is it bad because it just increases the odds that nothing gets done? I'm not sure. You'd have a better idea than me about that because I've never lived under a system like that. I don't know, but I could see it working out either way. Cordeco says my girlfriend's dog died. Oh, that's too bad. Should I try to cheer up by getting her? Oh no, we just had that joke the other day. Getting an identical one just made her more upset. She screamed at me, "What am I supposed to do with two dead dogs?" Yeah. Mr. Croissant says we can't recommend Anime on the Goose. That's where I was going to make a recommendation. Oh, Susan doesn't like YouTube. No, actually, the post is up right now, Mr. Croissant. We've got the anime we watch over there, except at the $1 level, is picked by you guys. And if you go over there right now, the nomination is up because once we need a new series for once we finish Hajime no Ippo. And so that's going on right now. People are making nominations right at the moment. Sploosh says, Curtis, how do you feel about the Aaron Rodgers situation? I think they kind of did him dirty. I don't blame him for wanting to get out. And I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, but I'm just trying to be fair about it. And I don't think they were fair to him. They told him they were going to trade him. Then they told him they're not going to trade him. And I don't know. I don't think they've been on the up and up with him at all. And I understand why he wants to get out. I think the Packers were, if some of the rumors are true about what they were offered in trade for him on draft day, if any of those rumors are true, I think the Packers are complete morons for not taking it. Jesus Christ. From what I hear, they got offered significant amounts of talent and draft picks. Rather than taking that, you're going to try and hold on to a quarterback who really doesn't want to be there. I don't understand that. Yeah, Code says I have a body of a 25-year-old, but it's in my fridge. Luke says no anime is banned from this channel. We've never seen any Korean cartoons in our lives. Philip says, let me put it this way. The last time we had a Republican president and a Democrat VP was Lincoln and Andrew Johnson, who fucked up Reconstruction leading to Jim Crow. I don't recommend it. Yeah. Well put, Philip. Mr. Croissant, I don't know enough about the situation to really comment on it with EDP. I just know I learned who he is because of the controversy, and I know what the allegations are against him, but outside of that, I really don't know too much about it. Do you think the play-in tournament in NBA is dumb? Kinda, Code. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, the newest Monster Lab. Yeah, I just recorded. It's going to go up for early access soon to the Goosh. I just reacted to the DaBaby episode that Meat did. That was fucking funny. That'll be, and then in the coming days, I'll be doing the next episode of that series as well. But yeah, that was Monster Lab is great, but that DaBaby one was really funny. Tyler says, does the VP do anything unless the president dies, like what happened to Lincoln? Well, the duties are certainly not as significant. However, in our current state of affairs right now, the VP is huge because you have a 50-50 Senate. And when you have that, the VP casts deciding votes and ties. So when you got it, I think that is when the vice president's position is the most important or most relevant, is when there's a 50-50 Senate. BTG says a vote for Ghost Stories is a vote for my wallet. That was good, BTG. Oh, I think I commented on it. I saw that post there. It's like, vote for something to let my wallet heal. I hear you, brother. Excuse me. He says, hello. In typical fashion, you start streaming right as I'm going out to eat. What are we eating, Lude? I was going to say I'm hungry, but that's redundant. I'm always fucking hungry. I just had lunch. But that's the bad thing with cutting, with eating right. I shouldn't say cutting back, but with eating right and working out, my lunch sucks. I don't get shit for lunch. So I am even hungrier than usual. True. Chrome says we all kind of assume Kamala will be president within the next 3 years, to be fair. Yeah, I think so. I don't think Joe makes it through the term. Anything's possible, but I think he is losing it. Filmmaker says, if 200 plus million people have already gotten the vaccine and the overwhelming majority are adults, aren't we already at well over the 70% of adults vaccinated? Biden said this is goal by July. Last I looked up Filmmaker, it's been a few days. I watched the numbers on that stuff. It's been a few days. We weren't close to, with one shot, or at least starting the vaccination process. I think when I looked, what were we at? Like 54, 55%, I think. I read so many numbers on it, I start getting them mixed up in my head. We're eating lewd, Click says. Chrome says, oh, also just saw we're voting on a new series already. Haven't been on my phone today. Yeah, Chrome. I'm anxious to see what you guys come up with. And as always, it's funny. Oh gosh, I forgot who it was. Chandler just brought up in the streams too, for those of you who are Gooshers, just because you nominate a series there and you can see where something else is getting a lot more thumbs up, don't let it stop you from nominating, because how often things are mentioned and how much positive feedback I get on a series is how I go about figuring out what I'm doing at the $1 level. The series you've seen there already have, a couple of them have come directly from looking at prior nomination posts. So don't let it, like I say, don't let it stop you from supporting your favorite. I think that's true, Philip. He says they only put Joe in because they knew they couldn't get Harris elected on her own, so they decided to play the long game. I believe that 100%. What was in the primaries? What was she polling at? 3%, I think, when she dropped out. Her own party wasn't supporting her. That was the only way she was going to get close to the office, was if somebody pulled her into it. The nomination thread's up right now, Lude. It's up at the Goose right now. Luke says, yes, vote for the thing with the biggest number. Succumb to peer pressure. Filmmaker says Kamala will lose no matter who she runs against. She could barely get 2% in the primaries. Without Joe being her life support, this will be a one-term presidency. It would appear that way, Filmmaker. I mean, it's politics in America, well, everywhere. Politics changes so rapidly. But if it were right now, I would tend to agree with you. The front-running Republicans, I think, would beat her, which obviously DeSantis comes to mind the quickest. Even Nikki Haley. As you said, obviously no Republicans to speak of, or anybody that leans right at all, is going to vote for her. And she's not popular within her own party. I think that if she were to run, I think you'll see that with black men, Joe Biden does statistically much better than Kamala will. They tend to not like her. She put a lot of black men in prison when she was the top cop in California. She got less than 1% of the primary votes. Right, Crone? That's what I mean. I at this juncture right now, and again, we never know how the political winds are going to shift, but I don't think she can win against any of the decent or the top most likely Republican candidates. Trump says he's running again, Ben. The only thing is, Trump has his hardcore support, but you have to remember he puts off a lot of more centrist Republicans. So I think Harris could keep it close with him. I do think at this point right now he would win, but it would be close. I think it'd be close. I think she has a much better chance against Trump than she does against DeSantis, for instance, as things stand right now. I'm not sure what you mean, BTG. Minecraft question, magic or technology? Minecraft question, magic or technology? You mean Minecraft itself? Is it magic or technology? It's both. Other than that, I'm not sure what you mean, Val. Mr. Croissant says, as someone who knows very little about politics, based on her debate with Pence, she seems sort of underwhelming. Her arguments didn't add up. Yeah, agreed. And I think one of her biggest problems is, this is strictly my personal opinion of her, she tries too hard. You can see when she's out of her comfort zone and doing things just to seem like she's relatable. That type of things. You saw a lot of that during the primaries. And that's not endearing, at least to me. Burnt says, do you think Bernie would have a chance at winning if he gets the nomination? Right now in America? No. I mean, you know, if you go on certain pockets of the internet and social media, like say Twitter, which is very far left, it'll sound like it. But overall, Democratic Socialists, I don't believe can win a national race in America. Well, the one swing state that's completely out of play for them is immediately Florida. Because one thing that the Cuban immigrants have shown is that's why Florida went as heavily Trump as it did, is in the, you know, when they were interviewing Cuban people, the fact that Democrats are being associated with any form of socialism, and the Cubans are like, nope, I'm out. And they showed up in big numbers to vote. Dragon says, what game hurt you the more stages you survive? Cancer. Dude, that's terrible. Chrome says, Harris versus Trump is essentially just Hillary versus Trump again. Yeah, I very similar. Honestly, she was groomed to be Clinton's successor, not Biden's. They're pretty similar in mannerism, laughing at children suffering. Yeah, no, I agree with that, Chrome. Yeah, they're very, very similar. Very similar. Andrew says, I don't like how she acts like a civil rights activist now when she was locking up people for nonviolent crimes and withholding evidence in trial to screw over an innocent person. Right, Andrew. And I think that's a lot of the reason why she polls, I mean, I shouldn't say poorly, but worse than you would expect with black men is how many of them did she lock up for ridiculous crimes? She was a hard ass as far as law and order. Big time hard ass. And some people don't forget that shit. Mr. Croissant. Oh, you were talking to Andrew. Dragon says, my humor is so dark that its life matters. Jesus. That's actually well played. The FDA guy says, what's the difference between the Trump administration and the Reagan administration? Both feature clowns, but the latter at least admits he was one on his resume. Yeah. Yeah, good old Reagan with his acting background. Maku? No, the boys, his sponsor had dropped off. I don't know if he'll be coming back or not, but for now, yeah, he had dropped out. Oh, yeah, sticky sauce. In fact, we should get Pink Guy out of retirement and make him president. Absolutely. You know what the worst part about it is, too? I've told you guys this over and over. Listen, I'm no cerebral assassin here or anything, but so many of the biggest issues in the country right now, to me, have very reasonable, workable solutions, and nobody's interested in doing it because it has become, everything in American politics is, it has to all be my way, and the other side says, nope, it has to all be my way. And there are things like with healthcare, there are easy, obvious solutions. With college and debt, there are easy and obvious solutions. Nobody really talks about them. With things in general, the most easy, obvious solution is to start allowing more things to be handled on local levels, state and local levels. Let people who live in a community make as many of their own laws, requirements, way of life as possible. That will take down the heat index in this country a lot. But federal government, and unfortunately the Biden administration, is doing the exact opposite and trying to become more involved. Even with things like, whether or not you approve of it or not, when the states are changing their laws on voting rights and Biden wants to get in there and try and override them, no, you should... Fucking federal government is not daddy. It's not mommy and daddy. You don't need to be involved in every fucking element of our lives. In fact, you should be in the background, only involved where the people need you, and involved enough to make sure that the playing field is even for everybody. But you'll never see any power given back to state and local governments because that would require the egomaniacs in Washington to relinquish some of their power. Dragon says, what is an orphan's excuse for leaving a party? I'm going to make like my parents and run. Oh. Jesus Christ. Oh, excuse me. Ben Davis says, I don't think Obamacare actually works. I think it could. It was rushed when it was rolled out, and it had some gaping holes. And that's not fair. It's what Obamacare did in the state in which it was rolled out was it helped some and devastated others. And no policy like that is good. I mean, you didn't move forward at all if you just changed who was getting hurt by whether it's cost of healthcare or whatever it may be. I think it was fixable. That was to Trump's detriment. He didn't need to. He was so set on abolishing everything Obama did. And listen, I don't agree with Obama on a lot of policy either, but it just wasn't necessary to take out everything he did. Everything he did wasn't terrible. There were some good elements to Obamacare, and it still could be saved. But they should have been trying to save it, in my opinion, right from the get-go, instead of just trying to get rid of it. BTG. Hashtag ununite the states. Hashtag Curtis for King. Hashtag US what? Keenum. I say that right? Keenum? Next comment? Sure. I like my slaves like I like my coffee. Free, you racist fucks. Well played, Keenan. Well played. Hey, we got a pussy pink sky up there. I appreciate it. Thank you, Lomatako. In my. I like the in my. I like that. Well, thank you for the pussy pink sky. Formerly the magenta sky. Look how I remembered that word all of a sudden. Today I hit myself like a normal person does, and pretty normal. $50. Yep, definitely normal. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that a lot. Philip says this is probably going to get me banned, but stereotypically, and that's the right word, stereotypically, no black guy would ever want a black woman as president. They already make their lives living hell without that much power. But the thing of it is, and you're right, Philip, in our hypersensitive society, that would get you banned from places. However, the numbers back you up. If you look at any major races, like major state races, major federal races, I believe, I'd have to double check, but I believe Stacey Abrams' race bore this out as well when she was running for governor of Georgia. Black men do not typically vote in big numbers for black women in power. Now, that's not to say they don't get a plurality of black men votes. They do, but they don't get the same percentage numbers that a black man does running for a similar position. So you're not wrong. in my, I like that. Pussy Pink is way lighter, Moneymore says, yeah. Big Spicy Burrito says, you ever think the world would be better if everyone was just stoned? It could be. And you could be using the word stoned as in, or with rocks. Either way, it could be better if everybody was stoned. Curtis, did you ever watch Insane Clown Posse on WWF, WCW? Yeah, I saw some of those angles. Did you enjoy it, or was the involvement in the stories too much for your taste? Nah, wrestling. With wrestling, I don't think anybody's involvement, and I know a lot of people that are in the business would disagree with me, but any specific group, like say Insane Clown Posse, I don't think their involvement is in and of itself a bad thing. It all depends on how well it's presented, just like any other storyline. So, was I way into it? Yeah, it was okay. But I think it was a detriment? No, it wasn't a detriment. It was a good swing. It was a good try. Again, it's all about telling a great story. And if somebody from the musical world or stock car racing or whatever can come in and help tell a story, bring them in. Let's see. BTG says, what sort of race has the runners get shot if they get an injury? Black. Oh, BTG. Oh. I didn't respond to somebody's donation. Whose? What are you going on? Did I miss a super chat, guys? Can you please read my comment? What are you talking about, dude? Now, I asked people to tell me if I missed a super chat, and I got somebody down here ranting about missing one, and I didn't miss one. What are you talking about? No idea what you're talking about, Ebony Gaming. Filmmaker says, I believe that it depends on the black woman running. If Michelle Obama ran, she'd win an overwhelming amount of black male. That could be true. Yeah, she might be able to pull that off. It's just unfortunate that black people only vote for the Democrats. No, that could be true. I'm just talking historically. That's what the numbers have shown. I don't know why. I mean, I don't even have a guess as to why that is. I just know that's what numbers have shown. But somebody with the profile of Michelle Obama, she might be able to turn that trend. Yeah, she might. Let's see. Elliot says, I applied for a job in a university. They asked me, do you have a degree in theoretical physics? I said, I have a theoretical degree in physics, and got the job. Theoretical degree. You should get the job just based on that for an answer. Absolutely. If you're that sharp, who cares what your qualifications are? what the qualifications you can print out on paper are. Dragon of Hatred. Dragon of Hatred. I like that one. I meant to donate and ask. You can ignore this, but keep the grit. Donate and ask. Oh. So I want to make sure I'm understanding you. You had something to ask, but you. Oh, with something I responded to earlier, maybe. Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Dragon says, "Why are there no closets in Southern churches? Closets have coat hangers." Oh shit. Johnny says, "What do Kobe Bryant and the Marshall Tucker Band have in common?" Their last big hit was "Fire on the Mountain." Oh, you guys are brutal today. Poor Kobe. It seems like Kobe Bryant has, well, not completely, because remember, for the longest time, it was always Stephen Hawking jokes that were the most rampant in here. And Kobe's starting to make a run at him now. Oh, the ICP question. Oh, okay, got you, Dragon. Well, thank you. But thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, like I say, it's like anything else in wrestling. If it's a good story, fucking go with it. Who cares who's involved? I think Insane Clown Posse, certainly as a group, would lend themselves to the world of pro wrestling easy enough. Absolute Human says, "Hey Curtis, did you know that a synonym for measuring the area of a parallelogram is basic multiplication? Synonym for measuring the area of a parallelogram is basic multiplication." Wow, we went really deep into mathematical theory here. I like that. No, I didn't hear about this. Philip says, "Did you hear about the BLM group that bought 200 acres in Colorado to set up a black separatist commune?" Uh-oh. I'm just waiting for Manson Family 2, African-American Boogaloo. Ooh, yeah, we've seen some of those communes. Yeah, a few times through history, we've seen some seriously bad shit happen at those communes that are set up. Big spicy burrito. "I've been making music for a while now. It's a mixture of jazz and funk. It's called junk." And it's absolutely terrible. Guido says, "My dick is small." Oh, we can hang out. Well, barely, but we can. Dragon says, "Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. I always think of that poem. There's a spot, Dragon. You guys know how fanatical my whole family is for Disney World. And there's a spot in the Haunted Mansion ride. As you're going through, it's off to your left where the woman with the axe is standing there all creepy and everything. And I always think back to that little poem every time we're in there. Kinom says, "I'll never forget my grandpa's last words to me. Are you still holding the ladder?" That hits close to home too, Keenan, because I am a grandpa, and our roof is high here in the house because, like I say, the house was built in 1860, and they got ridiculous with the heights of 2-story homes back then, and so it's about 21 feet in the air, and just to get to the edge, and I had to go up on the roof for something, and it's like I didn't think anything of it until I started climbing my way up there, and it's like I haven't been on this roof in 20 years, and it's different climbing it at almost 60 than it was at almost 40. It's a little scary. Tyler says, "When do you think celebrities start running for office? Most of the politicians are terrible." Well, lots of celebrities are. Well, even now with the recall vote we're going to be having in California, Jenner's already running out there, and you're going to get more celebrities involved in that. Dragon of Hatred says, "Did you know the similarity between spinach and anal? If you're forced to have it when you're a kid, you won't want it as much as an adult." There's no such thing as too much here, Dragon. The way I look at it, people know that the jokes around here are, again, that's why certainly the streams are not for the easily offended. Have I ever read something, experienced something that offended me? Sure. But so what? You get over it. So you were offended. And granted, it takes a lot to offend me. I couldn't even come up with any specific instances off the top of my head. But even if I am, so I just don't. People get so overreactive to being offended by something nowadays. So if you're offended, so what? Move on to something else. Who cares? Dragon says, I'm confused. How did Stephen Hawking get up the stairway to heaven? Hopefully the stairway to heaven also has a ramp to heaven as well, off to the side. NS says, just imagine how better the world would be if scientists ran the world instead of politicians and celebrities, though. Yes and no, pal. I think it would obviously greatly improve some things. But when you listen to some scientists speak on things outside of their specific purview, it's not always all that impressive. I myself have one friend, he's actually a distant family member I grew up with, who was genius level all through school and everything. And just a phenomenal, amazing intellect. I wouldn't want him in a political position. He had little to no common sense and was really, I don't know, there was always something off about him. He was brilliant, but it was never somebody that was overly trustworthy, and never somebody whose thought process I admired outside of educational areas or education areas in education. So I don't know. Yeah, BTG says, you're a vegan. Offended yet? That's close, BTG. That's close. Yeah. Because listen, I've already got my death plan that it's going to revolve to some level, probably some significant level. It will be related to my consumption of red meats, and nobody's going to take that away from me. Geniuses are weird. Many times, Fluffy. And so I get that. I mean, there are some places where obviously having somebody with a brilliant scientific mind would be the best. That's why I think what we need, and we'll never get because of egos, what we need in a president is somebody who's just willing to listen to experts regardless of their political affiliation. Because as president of the U.S., no matter what the topic at hand is, you have access to the most brilliant minds in that field. So you should not be making any decisions without talking to those people. And talk to those people without a concern about how what they're saying affects you politically. But that will never happen. Dragon says, what's the difference between normal kids and emos? Normal kids have functioning necks. Oh, man. You had a nice run of emo jokes there for a while, Dragon. What was that, last week? You had a slew of them that were really good. Nolan says, 2 antennas met on the roof. They fell in love and got married. The wedding wasn't anything special, but the reception was amazing. Well played. Cheap jump scare. Hey Curtis, have you? Yeah, I've seen some of the Dark Side of the Ring episodes. I know I saw the yeah, I think what you're trying to say. I watched so many different, because it's been a slew of them lately. I watched so many different documentaries on wrestlers. I get them confused as which one was Dark Side of the Ring, which ones were the others. But I know I saw, who was it? Benoit's. I know I saw Benoit's, and I saw several others. I just can't remember which ones were Dark Side of the Ring and which ones were some of the other offerings of those type. Philip says, you got it easy having to choose between 2 lousy parties in the States. Try choosing between 5 like here in Canada. True. We've got Trudeau for the Liberals, a Sikh immigrant who thinks we're all racist for the NDP. Oh, yeah. We'll keep watching. I'll watch for it, Philip. Yeah, from what I hear from Philip and the other, we have a number of Canadians that are part of our crew here. Things are not hunky-dory up in Canada right now either. There's a lot of unrest there as well. Lud says, speaking of grandfathers, I've been going through some of mine stuff lately. Poor fella fell out of the guard tower while serving in Germany during World War II. Fell out of the guard. Let me sell you on True Panacea. Just one bullet. It would have been a Tito person. Yeah, there's a Pussy Pink Sky, Wolverine. Yep. Yes, there is. I am Otako in my. Yeah. I knew I was gonna struggle. I knew I was gonna struggle saying that. Yes, he blessed us with the Pussy Pink Sky. Canadian wrestlers were awesome. Well, sure, Fluffy, just the Hart family alone. And anybody that came through Stu Hart's dungeon, absolutely. Keenam says, joke 1, have you ever tried African food? Neither have they. Oh. Oh. Joke 2, I love aborted baby jokes. They never get old. Oh. Kenam? Kenam? Okay, Kenam. I'll try and remember that, pal. And next time you post, I'll probably say it wrong. Kenam. So actually, the way it looks. Dragon says the New Jack episode was the best. If he didn't have those issues, he would be one of the greatest heels of all time. Oh, I did see his. Now that you say it, I remember that, Dragon. Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, he was a great heel. I never had a ton of respect for him just because of the things he's done. That just put. To me, the number one thing, and this is the way I was trained, the number one thing is you got to be able to trust the guy you're in there with. That's the ultimate. That's the most important. And you couldn't trust New Jack. Oh, okay. Here's the rest of what Philip's talking about. The conservatives trying to cater to the anti-Trudeau liberals while alienating their own base. The environmentalist Green Party and the anti-Anglo-Quebec separatist bloc, Quebecos, were fracked. Jeez, Philip. Yeah, well, we're going to see something similar here. Right now, political winds change all the time. As it stands right now, I think Republicans probably take back both chambers of Congress. That's not unusual when another party, for instance, whichever party's holding the presidency, for the other party to win seats is not unusual. It's actually commonplace. And I think that's going to happen. The problem they're going to run into in 2024 is if Trump runs, Trump may not be able to win because there's too many centrists that won't, Republicans or people that, I'm an example, I lean right, but I hesitate with him because of some of the things he's done. There's too much of that, and if they don't nominate Trump, I'm afraid that the hardcore Trumpers won't come out and vote. So Trump's got there's a real chance that Trump brings another victory to the Democrats, depending on who they run. Biden says he's running for re-election in 2024. I don't believe that. I don't think he'll still be president then. I think it'll be Harris. Cheap Dump Scare says, LOD episode is my favorite. Hawk and Animal were beasts. They were. I told you guys I had the fortunate opportunity to wrestle Hawk, or I'm sorry, Animal once. I barely kept my head on my shoulders because, in his own words, got a little charged up. But, it was awesome. It was awesome working him. He didn't even feel human. He was so fucking big. Kenam says, I'm Australian. Glad I don't have to deal with this shit. As well you should be, my friend. It's not a good climate here in America. And as Philip says, not in Canada either. It just isn't good up here. Dryer says conservatives try too hard to play Mr. Nice Guy middle ground with people who actually think they're all Hitler dummies. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes that's true. Jonah Blob says, hey, Curtis, what do you think about religious conservatives who would like it if decisions were based around the Bible? Would this be dangerous? No, yeah, I don't like that. And not just because I'm not religious, because whoever my representative is, I want them making decisions on my behalf based on what is best for whoever they're representing. If it's on a national level, best for the country. If it's best for everyone involved that they represent. And I want that decision to be made, which too often it is not, analytically. I don't care what anybody thinks their individual deity may believe. I couldn't give a shit less about that. I want you to do what's right right based on facts and numbers. Wolverine says there need to be age limits for running, maybe 69. I like 69, Wolverine, but I don't know that I can say that either, because that is ageism. And it's not fair, because there are, I mean, especially in my wife's line of work, you see it. There are a lot of people well into their 70s and 80s that are extremely sharp yet. So it's on that side of the coin, it's not really fair. It's just that we as voters need to be more involved. And we need to understand that if somebody, or we need to make ourselves aware that if somebody's running for an office and they might be debilitated, don't vote for them. Nah. BTG says, if I was his age, I'd have to run for re-erection too. Philip says, I'm personally populist. I believe that politicians should consult the populace more than they do. Yeah, where I stand on that is, like I've always said, my stance is America first, but not America only. Because as soon as you say America first, it's like, oh, you're a Nazi. Well, you're a Nazi for everything now in society nowadays. But you don't care about others and you're a racist. No. America first doesn't mean you ignore everything else. It just means you take care of your own first. We have a huge, in America, especially with our military might, we have a huge responsibility to the rest of the world. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be looking out for our own first. I think every country, wherever you're from, if you're from Russia, it should be Russia first. If you're from China, it should be China first. England should be England first. That's what I believe. I think you should take care of your own. That doesn't mean, as I said, just because I believe in America first doesn't believe I mean in America only. Far from it. But again, everything has got to be black and white nowadays. Two opposite sides, always. Dragon says, knowing who New Jack was, why exactly did someone think it was a good idea to book a rematch between him and Vic Grimes? Because promoters are kind of scummy, Dragon. And anything they think that'll make a buck, yeah, they don't care. BTG says, remember your damn roots. Return to Britain first. Where it all began. That silly revolution. Lick says, England should be England first. Tell that to the parliament. That's right. That's what I mean. Lick, I agree with you. I sympathize with you. I don't understand this movement around the world in so many places, including here in America, where saying your country first is a bad thing. Again, if you're saying America only, it's like, well, no, that's not how the world works. But no, you're not saying that. You're saying America first. Well, yeah, with our tax dollars as our representatives, take care of us first, absolutely. And then worry about everything else and all our other responsibilities around the world. Bacon Bit says, when was the last time you took a fat shit? Ooh. We had I love when my wife grills burgers, and I'm trying to think, it was end of last week she grilled burgers for me, and I ate more than I should, and they created a beauty. So I would say the end of last week. That was a memorable one. Philip says, you can't help anyone if you can't help yourself. Agreed. And again, it's some phrases become taboo for stupid reasons, like America first. Yeah, America first. We're Americans. There's nothing wrong with that. Big Green says that sounds pretty fair. That's what. But again, it stuns me that to some people, that's a bad thing. And as I said, I can't stress that enough. Everybody from every country, to me, that should be how your government operates. They should be worried about taking care of you first. Jonah Bob says, as someone who's on the left, I genuinely hate people like Biden and Harris. They don't give a fuck about minorities and have done nothing to try and help them. Well, my take on that, Jonah, and I lean right, in fairness, too. But even more than that, rather than, I don't like the way they go, for me, I don't think the way they go about trying to help is useful. I don't think you help people by seeing how much you can give them. I think you help people by seeing how much opportunity you can bring to them. And I don't see an awful lot of that. I mean, there are things you can do in inner cities, and it doesn't have to be race related, just poor areas of the country. There are a lot of things you can do to try and bring in some prosperity and some potential moving up for them. Handing something to people doesn't help them, not in the long run. If you give them opportunity and let them take advantage of that opportunity, everybody should have those opportunities, and they don't right now. And it just seems like a lot of times from the Democratic side, the solution to that is to give them things. If you want to give them something, give them opportunity. Excuse me, work on bringing jobs into the neighborhoods, and talk to the people and say, listen, we want to help you. We want to give you more opportunity. You guys have to help us help you. You got to work on your own communities. You've got to make it friendly for the environment we want to bring in. We want to bring employers in here. We want you to have these opportunities to make a good buck in fields that are going to be rewarding. But as a community, you have to come together and say, okay, we're going to welcome this in, and we're not going to be a hindrance to it coming in. Let's see. Chrome says there's no such thing as charity done by government. By its very existence, it's not charity. It's coercing people out of their money and putting it in politicians' pockets while throwing a few pennies. I agree, Chrome. That's why I've said people ask if there's one basic tenet of what I believe about government is it's never, ever good to give the government more of your money and have them in charge of redistributing it back for you. It's never going to be a good thing. Government has proven over and over that they can't do it. And they have no desire to do it because, again, both sides of the aisle, this isn't partisan at all, look at all the members of Congress. Look at what their net value is when they come into the job and when they leave the job if they stay any number of years. And tell me that there's not something odd there. How many multimillionaires have been created in the halls of Congress? It's stunning. It's frightening. And whenever it's brought up, it's just kind of pushed aside like, no, let's not talk about that. And it doesn't get talked about. Dementia Master says, do you watch for any major elections in other countries? If yes, which countries do you look out for when voting? I'll tell you, Dementia Master, and everybody will back me up, it's so hard. If I want to look for information on other countries, you have to really look because our media does not cover it. Our media in general has become wildly sensationalist. It's all about clicks. And the simple fact is, reporting on elections in other nations does not generate a ton of clicks. So you have to search for it. Am I interested? Yes. Do I always think to do my due diligence to find out more? No, unfortunately, I do not. I get a lot of my information from you guys here, or I get started looking into something because of things you guys here say. That's one of the things I love so much about having the channel and having these chats and everything, which are the highlight of my day. But that's one of the things I love so much about it is it gets me exposure to the rest. I'll expose myself to you too, let me tell you. But it gives me exposure to the rest of the world. Nolan says all the career politicians becoming millionaires want to sit back and lecture anyone who makes more than $80K per year about how they're evil oppressors of the poor. Right. Nolan, that is one of the most disconcerting things about our system to me is how many millionaires we've made in the halls of Congress. That's fucking bullshit. Chrome says, I've got kind of extreme policy positions, honestly. I'd personally abolish the FBI and replace or get rid of most taxes on the average people and replace them with tariffs on foreign-made goods. Yeah, I'm probably not as extreme as you are, Chrome. I think I wouldn't abolish the FBI. Personally, I would like the FBI looked into from top to bottom if I were in power. I think there is room for some of what you're talking about, though, yes. I think there are ways that we could generate revenue in this country outside of just taxing the masses to death. Yeah, I agree. Like I say, I'm probably not as extreme as you're admitting to being, but I don't disagree with your positions on things. Oh, Morgan, work has me dead inside, but I'm here for once. It's good to see you, Morgan. I like when you're in with us, hon. I've been there with work having you dead inside. If shared experience means anything. How's Brack sounded serious when he left yesterday? Wolverine says, oh, I meant to address that. There's... I don't want to go into great details. I will eventually. I promise you guys I will eventually. I'm not going to go into great details right now other than to say there's an issue. I honestly I think I have a handle on what's going on, and if I'm right, it's nothing. But I'll tell you more about it as everything unfolds. But yes, there was a slight issue, as you guys saw. But as soon as there is any type of an issue, I do all the reading that I can from every angle that I can. I'm a fanatic about stuff like that, especially if it has anything to do with Brax or my wife. And I think everything's going to be fine. BTG says, I knew it. He's pregnant, isn't he? Shh. At least wait till we know the sex, the gender. And I've got to tell you guys this yesterday. I got something coming up too. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be doing a project, and I mean, I'll tell all you guys about it. But it's one of the few times that I'm doing a side project where it's not directly related right back to the YouTube channel and or the Goosh. It's just something I've always wanted to do. I've always been a T-shirt fanatic. Of course, now you guys have me spoiled to where the only ones I buy are anime ones. But I'm starting up a T-shirt shop. Aside from the one I have for the channel. I've wanted to do it for some time. And you guys know my wrestling career was all about hardcore wrestling. So it's called Curtis Candy Hardcore. It's hardcore gear. It's just going to be a line of T-shirts taking the hardcore lifestyle into things that are otherwise not known for their hardcore means. In other words, we'll have a whole line of shirts for hardcore holidays. The first one I have in mind is going to say, it'll say Hardcore Holidays on it, and it's going to have a picture of Santa Claus getting choke slammed by a big beefy guy as horrified reindeer and elves look on, and on the shirt it says, "Who you calling a hoe?" I've already got in works a shirt for hardcore surfing and a shirt for hardcore bowling. And I will be coming to you guys probably on the Discord asking you for any ideas of things in everyday life that you guys enjoy and would like to see the hardcore version of. Dragon says, once my dad left to get milk, then I realized that we own a cow. Probably the beefy guy is shirtless. It'll probably look something like me. Looks just because it's Curtis Candy Hardcore. oh, Chrome. How about a hardcore Easter? Muscle-bound Jesus on a shirt being nailed to the cross. No, hardcore Easter. Wouldn't that be better with Jesus doing the chop to Pontius Pilate? I got 2 words for you, Pontius. Dogecoin. Yeah, I've got it. I mean, you guys know I'm front with about everything. I'm not a major investor. I don't have major investment type money. But I have some Dogecoin. I can't even tell you how much. And Doge has been going nuts the last few days. Down a little today. I have 1,587 Dogecoins. Right now, that gets you $951. But I can't complain because I did jump on it early. And no matter what else happens with the money I have in there, I'm already at a $1,200 profit on Dogecoin. First time I've ever invested in anything, so it worked out okay. Hardcore Valentine's, beefy guy tearing out Cupid's heart. Yeah, there'll be all that stuff. The hardcore holiday sports. There's going to be hardcore ping pong, hardcore gymnastics, everything. Hardcore gymnastics, though, of course, I'll have to fight with Pornhub because I'm sure that's already one of their set designs to begin with. Dragon says, can I use the word dictate in a post? Donna says, my dictate good. And Willie says, next post, please. Okay, Willie, I'll check for it. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody else. Okay, let me see if I see Willie's post. European colonizations of Africa in a nutshell. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but guns are way better. That's well done. I am still working on the book. It's just I get to it only in small, sporadic, unfortunately right now, small, sporadic spots of time. It's a little over a third of the way done, the first one. I mean, the first book that is just the prequel, of course, is already done. Cheap Jump Scare says, check next post, please. Tyler says, I'm big on the government not limiting what people can have, like menthol cigarettes. Like, why do you need to outlaw things that it's babying adults? I agree with you, Tyler. You guys know that I'm very much against government overreach. If government wants to mandate that there are warnings put on a package, I have no problem with that. That's what I mean, the difference between looking out for us and actually involving themselves in our lives. I agree with you 100%. See, Cheap Jump Scares post isn't up yet. Johnny says, I have a Golden Girl shirt where they're getting pissed on it. It says Golden Shower. I always get dirty looks. Mission accomplished. Well, I've got one. I'll be wearing it when we go to Disney. I always wear it down there. I've got a tank top that has, a picture of Nina and Alexander. You know, Nina and Alexander, a picture of each one over the other. And at the bottom it just says best friends forever. And I was in one of the shops in Disney with that on, and I remember I got done checking out and I could see that the kid checking me out was just watching the shirt, and he goes, before I left, he goes, "Sir, I have to tell you, your shirt makes my heart hurt." He goes, I almost, for just a moment, I almost felt bad. Let's see, jump scare. Oh, here it is. Hardcore Holidays gives me Vietnam flashbacks to the comic Ultimate Warrior made where he sexually assaulted Santa Claus. I remember something about that. I don't think I ever read that, but I remember when that came out. I remember something about that jump scare. I don't think I ever did actually see that, but I remember him doing that comic. Chrome says the FBI was designed as a temporary group to enforce prohibitions and break up the mob. I'm not against an FBI-like group being made, but the current FBI needs torn down first. Shit, I see a red dot. I don't disagree with you that if the FBI were to remain, it needs to be looked at from top to bottom thoroughly. I do agree with that. Almost being the keyword, Morgan says. Jonah Bob says, I'm 100% for the abolition of the war on drugs. It wasn't necessary to start it at all and has contributed to mass incarceration. To a degree, I agree with that. Yes, I think incarcerating people for marijuana usage and stuff like that is crazy. When you say you're against the war on drugs, I that opens up a lot of questions, though. In other words, we have a serious problem in this country with personal responsibility to the point with how many lives do we lose every year because people can't use alcohol in a responsible manner. So when you talk about introducing other things into society that are going to alter your mind to a state where bad decisions are going to cost innocent people lives, that's when I get a little nervous. But as far as all the ridiculous marijuana imprisonments we've had over the years and stuff, that should be undone. Dragon says, what do you call a 5-year-old with no friends? A Sandy Hook survivor. Oh, that's so terrible. Philip says, I get anti-smoking zones and warning labels, but I'm opposed to banning it completely. Agreed, Philip. You're going to end up creating a black market. Prohibition should have taught him that much. No, I agree. I agree. Again, I'm all for, just as you said, warning labels and everything, absolutely. You want to put some money into informational commercials, whatever you want to get the word out to people that this is dangerous and this is why, I'm all for that. But telling people, nope, you can't do this, I'm going to make it illegal. When the harm is only to yourself, and they can talk about secondhand smoke all they want, none of those studies are truly, there's no way to accurately reflect what secondhand smoke does. So let's throw that out. When you're talking about something that's harming only yourself, I don't like the government stepping in and taking control. Andrew says, after you finish Epo, can you list your top 5 matches? I don't know. I'm not a big fan specifically of top 5 lists and stuff. For me, it's just about I just really just enjoying the ride. Now, when something strikes me as insanely above and beyond everything else, I will certainly let you guys know. But I've never been big on the whole lists thing. Morgan says, next post because Susan can't take a joke. Don't we all know that too well? Orange Man Sus says, informational campaigns and warning labels on cigarettes of its effects is what they should be doing. Yeah, agreed. Orange Man agreed, 100%. I mean, to me, that's what I'm talking about when I say government should be looking out for us, not running our lives. That's how they look out for you. You know, they say, okay, we've determined that this is bad for you. Here's why. Explain it. Here's why. The whole thing with the pandemic could have been handled so much better on all sides. That's not a political aisle thing. Everybody flubbed it. Because everybody is looking for attention rather than just giving out the facts. Or they're trying to slant the facts a certain way or present them in a certain way that makes them look good to their specific echo chamber. Let me see if I can find Morgan's next one. Of course, Susan might still be fighting her. Susan really can't take a joke. She could still be fighting Morgan about this whole post. Here it is. Morgan says, so you mean to tell me a girl sleeps with 10 guys and she's a slut, but when a guy does it, he's gay? That's well put, Morgan. I hadn't heard that one. And for me personally, no, I wouldn't call her a slut anyway. I would call her friendly. And I like friendly girls. Poet says, whenever you ban shit, it gets people hurt because, get this, criminals don't care about the law. Correct. Weird, I know, but it's true. Plus, it's stupid. The government is trying to baby the people. Right. You're 100% right, Poet. As someone else alluded to, you just create black markets then. That's all. Because we've learned that over and over. You're not going to stop. Fill in the blank with whatever it is. If people want it, they'll get it. Exactly, Johnny. Right where I am. Just let people do whatever the fuck they want as long as they don't infringe on others' rights. Don't infringe on others' rights and don't do anything that's going to hurt somebody innocent. Yes, completely agree. Code had an addendum to that, Morgan. Not if they say no homo. We did determine here, as long as you say that, everything it negates everything else. She did fight you on that post. I figured she was, Morgan. I figured you were trying to figure a way to word it just right to where Susan wouldn't get kerfuffled. Jesus Christ. Dragon says, remember, kids, sideways for attention, long ways for results. BTG says, when are we turning Trump's wall into a dome? Yeah, just cover the whole place. That had to hurt the Biden administration to have to go down there and actually work on some of the wall. They've expanded some of the wall that they stopped construction on because, and don't get me wrong, I was not, even though I voted for Trump, I was not a wall supporter, only because I read up as much as I could about from the people who were at the border, and they said they need a wall in places, but they need different things depending on which part of the border they're trying to defend. A lot of places they needed more tech, so just saying wall at all wasn't effective. That's the only reason I was against it. But now they found that some of those places where Trump was building the wall, it really is needed, and Biden's had to go back to to building some of it. Kaiser says, well, here's something. The USA government got nukes. The world got anime. Sounds fair. Indeed it does. Nerf reloads and slide releases. I'm pretty new to this channel and I already love it. Well, we're glad to have you here, my friend. We're glad to have you. Kenom says, did you know the F in orphan stands for family? It's not there. Oh, dude, that's a good one. That's actually pretty witty. Sticky Sauce says the wall should be finished just so Attack on Titan becomes real. Agree with that. That would be awesome. That would be absolutely awesome. Excuse me, guys. There's something on my tooth. J-Man says walls don't work yet. People sit in their house protected by walls. Well, it is hypocritical when you'll hear people saying, well, walls don't work from behind a walled area, whatever it may be. All right, guys, I got to pack it in for today. I still got some more editing doing stuff. I'll keep you guys posted on those shirts. Hopefully you guys enjoy them. And it'll probably be, I'll ask you guys in chat here for any ideas of things you'd like to see once the shirts get going. I've already bought the domain name and everything. So when it's started to set up, before I make it public or start promoting it, I will definitely bring it to all you guys first so you guys can check it out. I have a joke. Susan's Love Life, Wolverine says. And Philip says, interesting you bring that up. I've been reading about the history of the Texas Rangers. Turns out violation of the Rio Grande border is something of a Texan-Mexican tradition. Really? I don't know a lot about the Texas Rangers. I mean, I know, I know their basic purpose and everything, but yeah, I don't know a lot about the actual history. That's kind of cool. Philip always had, well, for any of you who are new here, Philip is our resident historian. Philip knows the history of a lot of things. I've always said, I got to give props to you guys. Whenever we talk trivia or anything like that, I'm always amazed by how many things I think that would be something I only know just because I'm old and I experienced it. And you guys who are 20, 30, even more, 40 years younger than me, come right back at me with answers. So you guys are pretty well versed. I mean, that's to your compliment. All right, but guys, thank you very much for the stream. I as always, I appreciate. Oh, Downward says, I've noticed that when you ban something, some people decide that what you ban must be good because you banned it. That's 100% true, Downward. I think psychologically that's completely true in many cases. 100%. That's, yeah. I mean, people might think we're joking saying that, but I think that's absolutely true for a lot of people. They get an interest in it because it's banned. Yeah, no, I agree. But again, guys, thank you. It's Thursday. So the sticky stuff isn't up to Free For All Friday standards. I mean, that's still brewing. I have a separate compartment for that. You thought being a big fat ass is just something I do for shits and giggles. No, it means there's a lot of room in there to take care of whatever you need to take care of. That's in a separate compartment. But Thursday, as I told you, Thursday sticky stuff is always hopeful because it knows the sun will come out on Free For All Friday. So it's waiting. It's hopeful. It's ready to go. I'm going to spew you guys with some hopeful right now because, Dragon says, what's the difference between a baby and a baked potato? 140 calories. Dragon. I got to go back through and capture some more Dragon's jokes. I got a file of them. But here it comes. Here is some hopeful, really, really going to get you amped for tomorrow. Sticky stuff. Pampu, pampu. Sticky stuff for you. Sticky stuff for you. Sticky stuff for you. Oh, little sticky stuff over there. Sticky stuff for you. You guys all feel hopeful now, don't you? Because we'll bang, okay? Flashily like Buggy. And as always, most importantly, and it's always so hopeful and never a disappointment. Goosh, 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 goosh. Goosh.